In 1999, Amazon was worth more than the GDP of most countries. 2 years later, 94% of that value had vanished. $90 billion. Gone. The media called it Amazon.bomb. Analysts predicted bankruptcy. Investors fled. Everyone said Jeff Bezos was finished. March 2001, Amazon's Seattle boardroom. Bezos stands at a whiteboard covered in financial projections, all in red. A board member interrupts. "Jeff, we need profitability now. Cut R&D 60%. This quarter." Bezos caps his marker, turns slowly. "No." The room freezes. "We're not managing to this quarter's optics. We're managing to 2010's reality. We have the capital. Our competitors don't. We keep building." He circles 3 items on the whiteboard: personalization algorithms, warehouse automation, web services infrastructure. These are non-negotiable if you can't wait until 2010 to see why. There's the door. 3 board members resigned within 30 days. Bezos kept building. That single decision, to choose 2010 over 2001, separated Amazon from every company that died around it. And it's why Amazon is worth over $2 trillion today. But to understand why this decision mattered, you need to see the world that was collapsing around him. The late 1990s were irrational. Startups with no revenue traded at billions. The Nasdaq surged 86% in 1999 alone. Amazon rode this wave higher than almost anyone. Its stock hit $106 in December 1999. Yet the company lost 50 cents for every dollar earned. In the bubble, that was called investment in growth. But while everyone celebrated, Bezos quietly raised capital. $2.1 billion through debt and equity offerings. Critics called it unnecessary dilution. Bezos called it preparation. When markets turn, having cash already raised is the difference between survival and extinction. March 10th, 2000. The Nasdaq peaked. Nobody knew they were standing at the edge of a cliff. Starting March 2000, the Nasdaq began falling, slowly, then with terrifying speed. The week ending April 14th, investors watched it lose over 25% in 7 days. More than Black Monday, 1987. By October 2002, the Nasdaq had fallen 77%. Wiping out $5 trillion. Amazon fell right alongside them, from $113 to $5.97 per share. A 94% crash. Barron's magazine put Bezos on its cover with one word: Amazon.bomb. But the public crash was just the beginning. Inside Amazon, the crisis was worse. Amazon was losing over $1 billion annually. Revenue couldn't cover costs. So Bezos made cuts that contradicted everything Amazon represented. In January 2001, over 1,300 Amazon employees arrived at work to find they had been laid off. Many had joined believing in a long-term vision. Suddenly, that future was uncertain. Warehouses closed. Hiring froze. Expansion halted. Yet even these cuts barely improved the numbers. Amazon kept losing money, quarter after quarter. Competitors smelled blood. Borders, Barnes & Noble, Walmart intensified their e-commerce efforts. The pressure to pivot was overwhelming. Board members demanded profitability. Investors demanded answers. Every conventional instinct pointed to one response: abandon long-term investments and survive. That's when Bezos made his choice. The decision wasn't to build AWS. That came 5 years later. The decision wasn't to launch Prime. That came 4 years later. The decision was made in that March 2001 boardroom when Bezos refused to cut the future to save the present. He protected 3 initiatives that generated 0 revenue but consumed millions: personalization algorithms, warehouse automation, and web services infrastructure. Most CEOs would have sacrificed them instantly. Bezos elevated them to untouchable status because he understood something nobody else did. "We already had the money we needed," he later said. "We just needed to continue to progress." Amazon had raised capital during the bubble when everyone was buying. It didn't need frozen capital markets to survive. Competitors who ran out of cash simply died. And as hundreds of e-commerce companies collapsed, Amazon's competitive position actually strengthened. Bezos later called the crash one of the luckiest breaks in company history. Not despite the suffering. Because the suffering eliminated everyone who would have fought Amazon for the next decade. But choosing 2010 over 2001 meant one brutal reality: a decade of waiting. Amazon stock didn't surpass its 1999 peak until late 2009. 10 full years with zero returns for anyone who bought at the top. Most investors couldn't endure it. They sold at the bottom, locked in losses, and watched from the sidelines. But while the market doubted, Bezos was building what nobody could see yet. Remember those 3 protected initiatives? Here's what they became. Amazon servers sat idle most of the year outside holiday shopping peaks. Traditional thinking called this waste. Bezos asked a different question. What if we rent that capacity to other companies? That question became Amazon Web Services, launched in 2006. AWS now generates over $90 billion annually, powering Netflix, NASA, and thousands of organizations. Built from what everyone considered waste. Next came Prime. Shipping was e-commerce's biggest weakness. Customers waited days and paid fees. So in 2005, Bezos launched Amazon Prime, $79 yearly for unlimited 2-day shipping. The economics seemed insane. A Wall Street analyst published a report, Amazon Prime, Economic Suicide. Bezos read it, opened a spreadsheet, smiled. Prime members weren't just getting free shipping, they were changing behavior. Average orders jumped from 8 to 24 per year. Customer retention hit 94%. They're calculating the cost of shipping, Bezos said. We're calculating the value of a customer for life. Critics predicted bankruptcy through shipping costs. Instead, Prime created a flywheel competitors couldn't replicate. Then came the boldest move. Amazon dominated physical books, its most reliable profit source. The logical move was protecting that business. Bezos did the opposite. In 2007, he launched Kindle, designed to make physical books obsolete. He deliberately attacked his own most profitable product. If someone was going to disrupt Amazon's book business, Bezos wanted it to be Amazon itself. The Kindle didn't just protect against disruption, it gave Amazon control over the entire digital reading ecosystem, a S Prime, Kindle. These weren't 3 separate gambles. They were one integrated system, born from that March 2001 decision to protect long-term infrastructure over short-term survival. From a 94% crash to a $2 trillion empire, Amazon didn't survive by reacting. It survived by one choice in one boardroom in March 2001. Bezos chose 2010 over 2001. He chose infrastructure over optics, patience over panic, decades over quarters. 3 board members walked out. Bezos kept building. If you want to understand the structural decisions that separate survivors from casualties before the market does, subscribe. Now answer honestly. Could you have held through a 94% crash and a decade of zero returns? Or would you have sold at the bottom, locking in losses while the greatest comeback in business history was just getting started? Tell me in the comments.